Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Monday. What is it? The 12th of October. Hi, I'm Paul and I will be your host this morning. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope your week starts wonderfully. And this is obviously the best way to start your day up to speed with all the important sports news. Yes, we'll bring you up to speed with the golf and how our Kiwis have unfortunately faded away in those tournaments. But we had the men's final at Roland Garros. A bit of a one-sided affair. The Indians have win against the Capitals over in the IPL. We'll have updates from the Giro d'Italia and also the World Championships in mountain biking. We have a record has been equaled in Formula One. We'll bring you up to date with how the NBA finals are sitting, as that could be decided today. Over in the NRL, and Jared Beale has called it a day. And finally, obviously, we'll have to bring up to speed with the Bledisloe Cup action, Mitre 10 Cup action, and Farah Palmer Cup action from in the rugby as well. So kicking off or teeing off with the golf over it's this weekend has been the Women's PGA Championship. And Lydia Ko had a decent opening couple of rounds, shooting 68 and 70. Unfortunately, a 74 in her third round really saw her slip back from being a contender in this one. She recovered to shoot 71 in her final round, and she finished around about tied 18th. There are still a couple of players out on the course, but most of them have finished now. So yes, Lydia Ko. Tied 18th in this one after a really good opening couple of rounds. Something similar happened to Ryan Fox over in the BMW PGA Championship on the European Tour. A 68 and a 70 in his first two saw him in contention, but a 73 in his third round saw him slip back. He recovered to shoot 70 in his final round and finished finished 20th or tied 20th. Over in that one, a decent result for Ryan, but not clearly what he was expecting or what he was hoping, could have been hoping for after those first two, the really good first two rounds. And that's really been Ryan Fox's issue this season. He's managed to put a couple of rounds together, but that third round generally has been his Achilles heel, the first one of the weekend. So let's hope he can improve on that one. Over in the tennis, and as I say, it was men's finals day at Roland Garros, with Rafa Nadal beating Djokovic 6-0, 6-2, 7-5. Yes, in straight sets there for Rafa Nadal for his 13th Roland Garros title. He really is the king of clay. So congratulations to Rafa Nadal in that one, as the top two seeds faced off in the final there. I'm going to hand you over to Ashwin now, who's going to take us through our cricket update.
Good morning, Paul, and good morning to all our viewers and listeners on the interweb. And as Paul said, the Mumbai Indians have picked up a win against the Delhi Capitals this morning. Batting first, the Capitals put together a score of 162 for 4. Shikhar Dhawan scoring 69 off 52, and Suresh Iyer with 42 off 33, the main contributors. Despite losing early wicket Rohit Sharma, the Indians got there with a couple of balls to spare, with a minor scare towards the end of the innings with a couple of quick wickets for the Capitals. For the Indians, Quinton de Kock scored 53 off 36, and Surya Kumar Yadav 53 off 32. Earlier, the Rajasthan Royals got past the Sunrisers Hyderabad with a ball to spare. Sunrisers scored 158 for 4, helped by David Warner's 48 off 38, and Manish Pandya's 54 off 44. But it wasn't enough, as the Royals scored 163 for 5. Ben Stokes was playing his first game of the IPL after his time in New Zealand with his dad, and scored 5 on his return. Not unusual, really. He hasn't really had a lot of time to settle in there, so I'm sure his scores will get better. And there were a few wobbles for the Royals. They were 36 for 3, with the internationals all back in the hut, Ben Stokes being one of them. But Sanju Samson steadied the ship for the Royals, and Rian Prayag with 42 from 26, and Rahul Tewatia with 45 for 28 brought it home for the Royals. In trouble for Sunil Narayan as his bowling action has been reported again. This time after the thrilling two-run win for KKR over the Kings 11, the report was made by the on-field umpires, and according to the IPL suspected illegal bowling action policy, Narayan will be placed on a warning list and be permitted to bowl until there is another report against him. And just yesterday, the BCCI have announced the 2020 edition of the Women's T20 Challenge. That's 3 teams, the Supernovas, the Trailblazers, the Velocity, will be playing games on November the 4th, 5th, and 7th for the final on the 9th. The venues have still to be announced, and there will be no internationals as it does clash with the WBBL. And I think they'd be hard-pressed to try and get the internationals over there at the moment anyway, depending on where the games were going to be played. And finally, with the Plunket Shield due to get underway very soon, 19th of October, NZC has followed overseas conventions and not allowing spit and sweat to be used to polish the balls. So they'll be using a bit of lemon pledge and a Chuck's cloth, I'm guessing. That's all our cricket news for today, Paul. Nope, you're on mute, I believe, Paul.
Thank you very much for that update, Ashwin, and a bit late for folks, but I've just thrown up the IPL table for those of you watching on Facebook there, so you can see the standings. Don't forget, you can also listen to us on the go. You can download the New Zealand Sports Radio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favourite podcatcher. I know that Stephen's favourite podcatcher is iHeartRadio, but Stephen, hand it over to you for our weather update and also birthdays this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. I'm just thinking we should start some sort of fine system for muting yourself. Maybe a $2 fine. Any funds made, we can donate to a charity of our choice out there, which is probably our own charity at this stage. Oh, dear. I was going to get to birthdays this morning, but just looking at our weather forecast, it's another grey start here in Auckland today, and unfortunately it's not going to burn off. There's a 79% chance that there will be some rain roll in at some stage today, so make sure you take a raincoat and an umbrella. But traffic on the upside is moving around quite nicely at this stage, but I can just see a few drops just starting to hit my windshield at this point in time, which always slows the traffic down. Now, in our birthdays this morning, quite an interesting one. We've got 3 guys, interestingly enough, they were all born within 2 hours of each other in New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and Hawera, respectively. And it's the man that was born in New Plymouth that we start with this morning, Reece Marshall. Now, he was a former chief, Waikato chief, also played for Taranaki. He currently plays for the Irish Pro and 14 team Munster, and of course he plays as a hooker. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but he was very close or on the cusp of making the All Blacks at some stage throughout his career. Now, one player who did make the All Blacks and is considered one of our great centres was born this day in Hawera, is Conrad Smith, and he's obviously a former rugby player who predominantly played at centre, and as far as I'm aware, probably centre only. Can't recall him playing in any other position. Now, he kept in the Hurricanes in Super Rugby, and he played for the All Blacks between 2004 and 2015, and he was a key member of the 2011 and 2015 World Cup winning team. So he's one of only 20 players to ever achieve that feat. Following the 2015 World Cup, he retired from international rugby and took up a contract in France, where he played for French club Pau, I think it is. Pau or Pau? Paul will put me right on that. Hopefully his mother isn't listening to this morning. And finally, Sam Whitelock, who is a current All Black player, currently playing in the for the All Blacks at this moment. He obviously played yesterday for the All Blacks, but he was playing as a lot for the Panasonic Wild Knights in the top league in Japan. Whitelock has captained the Crusaders and the All Blacks in 5 internationals, having earned selection for New Zealand through the Mitre 10 Cup for Canterbury. I think it was called the ITM Cup back then when he first made the All Blacks. Whitelock has played over 100 tests for the All Blacks since his debut in 2010. and is the youngest New Zealander in history to reach 100 tests. He is the fastest player to ever reach those 100 international appearances across all international rugby. In 2000, now he was also a former New Zealand Rugby Union Player of the Year, which he won in 2017. He's also played with Brodie Retallick in over 50 tests together since 2012. And I think after yesterday's performance, we probably look forward to that pair having a reassociation at some stage during the future. And like our previous recipient, Conrad Smith, he's one of only 20-odd players to have won the 2011 and 2015 Rugby World Cup winning teams, becoming one of only 20 Rugby Union World Cup winners. How freaky is that, guys? These guys all sort of born within 2 hours of each other. I think the longest distance is I think it's about an hour from New Plymouth to Hawera, and it's about 2 hours from Palmerston North to Hawera. So isn't that interesting, Paul? And by the way, is it Po or Po?
Po.
Po.
It's not pow like bow or the it's a French pronunciation, not a Chinese pronunciation. With for Po.
Po. I am going to Po. Oh, yeah.
On that one. So it's interesting that all those guys you say within such a short time frame of each other got all been born there. Moving on then to the cycling news and at the Giro d'Italia. This today last night's action was being built. Stage was being built as a general classification day, but it didn't really happen in the end. There was a breakaway of a large breakaway of about 7 riders, and 2 riders managed to pull away from those. Ruben Guillerio of EF Pro Cycling, who've got the most garish jersey in the peloton, managed to outsprint Jonathan Castrovejo of Ineos Grenadiers to win the stage on that one. As I say, it was a day in the mountains, and there was an expectation that so there would be a general classification shake-up, but with perhaps one of the most open fields in a Grand Tour in recent memory, with only perhaps 1 or 2 sort of outstanding people who normally would be challenging at for the title. Perhaps the others are still holding their cards ahead of until later, and perhaps a bit nervous of going too hard too early in this 3-week race. Over in the mountain biking, and it was a disappointing day for Anton Cooper. It was tough conditions at the World Championships. The rain and the snow did hold off, but it was a very muddy course and very heavy conditions, which he found hard going. There was a surprise winner in Jordan Sarrou of France, who to win it, and Anton unfortunately came in down at the pack after showing some pretty encouraging form in the back-to-back World Cup races last week. This was a squeezed in 2-week season because of COVID, and so obviously he'll be into his off-season ready to prepare for next season now. In other news, the Hell of the North, or Paris-Roubaix, to give it its real name, has been cancelled due to coronavirus. One of the 5 monuments, which means we've just got the Tour of Flanders is the only monument left to race this year. And we'll obviously bring you news of that. I believe it's on the 18th of October for that one. And we'll keep you up to date with all that sport. Now, Stephen, before we get into our league update, we do need to give you a little bit of an education around how to do some pronunciations. My mum is from Yorkshire, and here she goes to tell you how to say Huddersfield.
Don't say Huddersfield or Huddersfield. It's Huddersfield.
Huddersfield.
Now that sounds really stupid. So you don't do an H, you do Huddersfield.
So there's my mum there. Obviously, not as comfortable on the camera, but great for her to give you a bit of guidance there, Stephen, around pronunciations for your favourite Super League team. As I hand over to you for our league update.
Thank you for that, Linda. I really appreciate it. I quite like saying that. Huddersfield. Good grief. Anyway, on to our league news this morning, and we have got some league news. A former Warriors and Kiwi international calls it a day. We check in on the results from over the weekend, and we see where that leaves everybody, where the cards will lay, shall I say, for the major semi-finals, which are happening on Friday and Saturday, respectively. But our main story this morning, Premiership winning Kiwi international Gerard Beale has posted a heartfelt message on social media to call time on his career. The Warriors veteran announced he would be calling it quits on Instagram after a 12-year NRL career, highlighted by his role in Cronulla's historic grand final win over Melbourne in 2016. After making his debut at Brisbane in 2009, he played 63 matches for the Broncos for 4 seasons before making 30 appearances in a 2-season stop at St. George Illawarra. Beale joined the Sharks in 2015, racking up 71 games for the club, including the 2016 Premiership decider, coming off the bench in the second half when winger Sosaya Fiki was injured. He joined the Warriors in 2018, adding a further 32 matches to his tally to finish his career with 194 at the Telstra Premiership level. Beale also represented the Kiwis 11 times in the Test arena. In his farewell post, he wrote, "The end of an era. Wow, what a role in the past 12 years it has been. So many have dreamed of playing in the NRL, let alone playing for 12 years. I will be forever grateful to many people who I've met throughout my career, to my mum and dad for the time that they spent taking me to all my trainings and games when I was young, to the Broncos who gave me the opportunity to debut in 2009, to the Dragons, Sharks and Warriors, and all the coaches and managers and teammates I have crossed paths with yet. I say thank you." So that's it. Gerard Beale, pretty much a career, a very good 12-year career, done and dusted. Would want to wish him a very best post-career. But some teams that are still not past their post-career, the Roosters, Raiders, Eels and Rabbitohs, although the Roosters are done for the season because it was the Rabbitohs, the Raiders, that beat the Roosters 22-18 on Friday night. And the Rabbitohs, in a strange old game, saw the Eels implode over the weekend. 38-24, the Rabbitohs beating the Eels. What does that mean for the semi-finals? It means the Storm take on the Raiders at Suncorp Stadium this Friday night, 10-10 kickoff. And on Saturday night, probably the team that's the favourites to take out the NRL Premiership, I probably just put the knocker on them, is the Penrith Panthers, and they take on a Rabbitohs team that seems to be just timing there right really well, although Wayne Bennett being really, really coy in his post-match interview, saying that, we played a lot better the week before. Anyway, sure you did, Wayne. You're through to this major semi-final. That kicks off at 10-10 on Saturday night, but I'm sure the boys on Wednesday night on the standoff will cover all the bases as Paul puts the table up there. You can have a really, really good look. It's coming to its end. Paul, I got to ask you, who's your tip to go all the way? I'm tipping the Storm and the Panthers to be in the final. Are you going a similar way?
Well, what? Look, with both of them having had a week off to rest their players, you've got to say they have got to be, and obviously being the higher seeds, they've got to be favourites to go through. But let's be honest, I don't watch any NRL. I haven't got a clue what's going on. Yes, Penrith and Melbourne, you've got to have got to be favourites with having had a little more rest time to prepare for these games.
Listen, I would love to see them go all the way and break the record. They will break the long-standing record that that was either the Manly or the Bulldogs had in recent times. I'm pretty sure Hugh will help us out with that. But I think it'd be fantastic if they've got the go of the way. I think they've actually been the best team in the comp, and I think they may have only lost, maybe 1 or 2 games round robin. Now that I think back, but it's very, very impressive. So it won't be a lot of league news this week, but I will have birthdays, and I'm flying down to the Hawke's Bay on Wednesday, so I'll take in that Shield Challenge and have some reports for us. So super excited about that. But just before you go, Paul, we'll be getting together again this evening at 8 p.m. What will we be talking about in terms of rugby?
Well, just to bring you up to date, on the Penrith Panthers, 1 draw and 1 loss, and 18 wins. Really impressive season, as you say, by them on a long winning streak, and have been one of the dominant team since the lockdown has finished. As you say, join the boys for the standoff show on Wednesday 8 p.m, where they'll definitely go over the 2 games from the weekend and preview the next 2 this evening at 8 p.m. on the Driving Maul show. What are we going to be talking about? Well, we'll be talking about who should be kicking for the All Blacks for a start. Should it have been Geordie Barrett? Should it have been one of the other players? Hopefully, we will have a current Mitre 10 Cup player on, because then we can ask him, how does a player get to the top level of rugby and still put the ball down with one hand when trying to score a try? So those things we'll be talking about. We'll also probably have we might have a quick chat about the Mitre 10 Cup and crowds in there, and when will unions start to think out the box and think differently, because I think there were some disappointing crowds at the weekend around that, and they didn't fill the Sky Stadium, Sky TV Stadium, Sky Sports Stadium, I think it's called, whatever it's for, the cake tin for the All Blacks test, which has got to be worrying.
Paul, I was going to say, is this the first signs of maybe people just starting to get a little bit tight on money?
Possibly. Apparently, it was the $200 tickets. $200 tickets. Wow. Some of us think that the jerseys are expensive, and at least you get to keep that for more than a day. Whereas having a seat for just a couple of hours, wow. Yes, you've got to say that, yes, but the ticket prices have got to be part of it. But I think at the end of the day, look, there are enough people. Whilst yes, a lot of people are struggling. Don't get me wrong. There are enough people at that top end to fill a stadium if they had the desire to go. And I think it's building up that desire to be there for the event that they need to be doing more. So rather than worrying about ticket prices.
Paul, I was going to say there's been some. Oh, you go. I was going to say there's some great images. Yeah, there's some great images too going around of the Australian rugby team. They were invited into the All Black changing room, where there was a presentation to Michael Hooper for his 100 games, and you could just see a lot of respect between the two sides. And it's, for me, it's great to see those are the values of rugby. And it's listen, I know that there was a lot of angst between these two sides over the years. So maybe with Dave Rennie in control of the Wallabies team, it was just great to see those images, and you'll see those going around on the social network.
Yeah, good that whilst the administrations might have an all-time low ebb of their relationship, at least it's not there at the players' level. So thank you very much, Stephen, and you can exit stage right, and we'll move on then to that rugby news. Yes, clearly the Bledisloe Cup finished 16-all. Some question marks also about them. Neither side being able to have a go at a drop goal in the closing minutes of that one. But what a cracking game. Rieko Iwani obviously spilling a try just on half time. But listening to the post-match interviews, that's not what was to blame. It was more about the Wallabies really controlling the ball very well, especially in that first half, and the All Blacks not playing enough territory and the right tactics, perhaps playing too much rugby, as Aaron Smith said. Over in the Mitre 10 Cup, and good victories for Tasman, who beats Bay of Plenty 33-7, and Northland, who got up over Southland 18-14 in the Mitre 10 Cup. Over in the Farah Cup, and it was a big win for Northland against Taranaki, 77-3 in that one. In the NBA, and don't forget that it is Game 6 of the finals this today. That starts at 12:30 New Zealand time as the Lakers take on the Heat. The Lakers leading that one 3-2. They could win the championship today. Over in the Formula One, and congratulations to Lewis Hamilton, who won ahead of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo at the FL Grand Prix. That is the 91st win of his career, which means that he is now equal to Michael Schumacher on the most ever wins by a driver, and surely he'll be breaking that before the end of the season. And you have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. We'll try and bring you some news on the America's Cup. Apparently, Team New Zealand has capsized for a second time on that one, as their boat suffered some damage as well. Not had time to get through all of the details of that, but we'll catch up with that tomorrow on the morning sports briefing at 7 a.m.